Hi, this is Curtis with the Old Map Gallery. Today we're going to talk a little bit about space and one of the most important facets of human development. Indeed, along with Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking has said recently that we need to engage in the next level for space travel and colonization. We have a few things that are kind of artifacts from that early era, and it's amazing as to how crude and primitive. You have to remember, what they were dealing with was so low-powered compared to what's in your phone or what's in your laptop or what's in your iPad. Start out with a few things. First, 1957, Sputnik goes up. The Soviets get it to orbit successfully. This, also issued in the same year in 57, is your handy-dandy satellite Pathfinder. All you need is some of the basics of where you're located and time and date. And you can figure out exactly when the thing's going to orbit overhead. I think it was circling around about every 98 minutes. So yeah, a great little artifact from 57. Not that long after, and oh my gosh, look at the progress. This is one of our early satellites that was sent up in 64. What's really notable is this is part of the transit program. This is one of the first proto-GPS units that we're going to have. It would fulfill the needs for the Navy in order to have some sense of placement into what was going on with ships at sea. It's a rare artifact and indeed a great schematic for one of the early American satellites. Progress for the rocket program in the US, a lot of it was indebted to certain Germans that we brought on board that worked for the US space program, and some of them were infected with this idea of going to the moon, specifically Wernher von Braun. If you hear interviews about people that worked around him, it was a fetishized thing for him of making it to the moon, and it was contagious. In order to do this, he proposed an idea of a multi-stage rocket, and indeed this was part of what he had shown to President Kennedy that gave Kennedy enough confidence that, yeah, I'll start talking about going to the moon, because after you saw what Wernher von Braun had said about these three-stage rockets, he was convinced. Basically, we can go ahead and you wouldn't fill up an entire rocket with fuel and then just light it. You're going to do it in sections. You can go ahead and do a section, utilize all the fuel, and then get rid of it. Lose the drag, lose the weight. Do the same thing again and again. And you end up with the very vehicle that got us to the moon. A great nerd thing. Probably the best, and I harangue about these far too much, the best comprehensive views of things that were done of space were all done, from my standpoint, were done by a Swiss company called Holodog. This is, you can think of it in, this is 1970, you can think of it, this is the new view of the neighborhood. This is our solar system, complete with the addition of comets, significant comets that go through and what their trajectory would be. On the verso is an exhaustive study of everything that had happened as far as flybys and landers and whose program had gone where so far. If you needed one thing to give you a sense in the 1970s as to how big the solar system was and how unfriendly it was, we're finding out quickly there's no nearby neighbor that we can go live on. It's a great sheet. Next, also by Holodog in the 1970s, the Viking lander is happening thanks to the US, and we end up with some of the first really good photos and better mapping. So we get 3 views and 2 polar views. What's really nice about this is the exhaustive history that they give, from the first sketchy views in 1638 up to Flammarion up in 1892. And then in addition to that, they do everything as far as recent things. So when the Soviets had a recent flyby, or if we had a flyby, and then up into the time of the Viking lander. Great things. There's more on our webpage, and feel free to contact us through Facebook or G+. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.